Hi, in this video I'm going to walk you through logging into your course for the first time and beginning to edit the course and do some outlining. So first we need to log in, and then we see this in kind of a teacher view. Notice here that there's a course called Moodle for Mappers 101 that has been created for me, and I am the teacher. Here they're calling me coach. Typically I would be a teacher, but I'm a coach. You'll see in a minute where that came from. So as teacher, it's time for me to enter the course and begin adding content and editing. So I'll click on the title to get into the course. And here is an empty Moodle course. By default, it has been created with 10 topics. I can change that if I want to, but pretty much that's about it. So just two things you need to be aware of in this lesson. Over here in the administration block, you have turn editing on and settings. There's lots of other stuff down there, but this is all we're going to worry about right now. So let's click on settings. That's where you see we find the course title, and that's also up here. So if you didn't like this title, you can change it here. That's up to you. Also, this MDM101, that's something that, well, actually, I made the course, so I made that up. That's nothing special. You could change it to be something else that you like. I think the only thing, probably as a team, the faculty should have some sort of a standard for these so that they don't become confusing, but they are optional. It was up to me to name it that way. Okay, so here I have what's the course. I could write a description here. Probably two things you should maybe be aware of at this point, and that's number of weeks or topics. When we looked at that, we saw there were 10 topics. That's this number 10 here, and if I want to change that, I could go down to 5 topics. I'm going to do that just for demonstration. And then there are lots of choices here. We're not going to go into them now because by default, those are set up pretty well, and you probably don't ever have to change anything. So down here at the bottom, the second thing that you should maybe know about is role renaming, and here's where I made myself be a coach instead of a teacher. I liked that. If I delete this, then I would just be back to the teacher role. And same for students. I wanted them to be called mentees, not students. So I save changes, and I just want to notice that now you see there are only 5 topics here, where before we had 10. Okay, so looking at this page briefly, at the top here you see this box and there are no numbers. Notice here you have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the topics. This is just sort of like a banner box. This is where we might put a greeting. We might put some kind of media, or if, for example, we were using a rubric, or we had examples of things that we wanted people to use as references, and we expected they would need to keep going back to them, and they were sort of bigger than just one topic, we would put them up here at the top. But then topic-specific kinds of things would be put in with the topics. So let's start editing this and do some outlining. And in this lesson, that's all we want to do is show you how to do some outlining and do very, very basic editing on your course. And then in other courses, we'll come and look at how do I add video, how could I add some other kinds of resources, okay? So notice here you have a nice little button that says Turn Editing On, and you've also got it over here in the administration block. I want to point out before I click it, this little hand icon, a hand holding a pencil, is the edit icon, and you're going to see that all through Moodle when you turn editing on. Let's do that now. Okay, so the page has changed a bit, and first thing I want to point out is that little hand icon. So you could click here to edit things inside of those boxes. And let's do that now. In the top box, remember this is just sort of a banner where things sort of above or outside of the course go. Let's click on that. And now we get an editor that has buttons very similar to Microsoft Word. And let's just type a welcome message. So we can just select text here. This is just like using Word. The icon or the icons are similar. Shrink this down. Okay. I'll return. Save changes, and now you see that at the top. Now if I turn editing off, it'll go back to more of a normal view, and this is kind of what students would see when they came into the course. Okay, so let's start outlining. Turned editing back on, and I'm not going to worry about these resources and activities for now. Let's just go over here next to the number 1. I'll click here. Now, what am I going to call my first topic? Let's call it, what is Moodle? Save changes. Great. Number 2, click on that little icon. Editing your first course. And number 3, adding media. Okay, so I'm still outlining, I'm going gangbusters, and then I hit the bottom, and I'm out. Well, remember that we can go over here to settings, and here's where we chose 5. We can choose more now. Let's go back to 10. Save changes, and that didn't work. Oh, that was news items to show. Excuse me. Number of weeks, 10 weeks and topics. There we go. So we've got more room now to keep working. Okay, I think that about wraps up this lesson. So what I think would be good for you to do before you move on to the next lesson is go into your class and do the same thing. Practice using the turning editing on and off. Doesn't matter if you use this one in the administration block or this one over here. Practice going to settings, change the title just for drill, and change the amount of items that are going to be listed here, and begin to outline.